And joining us now on set for analysis is Leigh Bradberry, Associate Professor of Political Science from State Northridge. Well, let's talk about the campaign to discredit Michael Cohen. Why go so hard at him now, and what's at stake?
I think it makes total sense that Rudy Giuliani would come out swinging. But I think even though this sounds like a strange thing to say, I think when we look back at this week in retrospect, the tape itself and what Giuliani has said about the tape might end up being much ado about nothing. And the reason I say that is you have to think about what is the ultimate outcome here. Even if you could show conclusively that President Trump knowingly participated in a campaign finance violation, is the Southern District of New York or Bob Mueller actually going to prosecute a sitting president for that alone? I think that's unlikely. Where I think that President Trump should be a little bit more worried is Cohen's potential testimony about the Trump Tower meeting. So let's assume, just for the sake of argument, that Cohen is telling the truth, that President Trump knew about the meeting, he condoned the meeting, he knew about the real subject matter of the meeting, and that he participated in a cover-up. Is the current Republican leadership in the House of Representatives going to impeach President Trump over that? I think not. So, I think that's the likely outcome for now. Of course, if the Democrats take back the House in November, it's a whole different ballgame. Even if they don't, it's possible that Republican voters might slowly, over time, as more facts come out, maybe they'll start to change their minds about some things. And even though that too seems unlikely, you have to remember that Watergate took a really long time to develop. And even though, for example, the House Republicans who were Democrats, the House Democrats who were in charge during Watergate, they waited until several months after the Saturday Night Massacre to even start the House Judiciary inquiry into impeachment. So I think we're in for a long ride. What Cohen's testimony or tapes or documents may show remains to be seen, and I think it's going to take a long time to play out.
Okay. Now let's take another look at this new CBS News Battleground Tracker poll that came out. It had interesting findings on both the president's credibility and the media's. People described as strong Trump supporters were asked, who do you trust for accurate information? 91% said President Trump, 63% said friends and family, 11% said the mainstream media. So what do you make of these findings given the president's unrelenting attacks on the press?
Well, it isn't surprising that strong supporters of any president would believe that president, but I think that all Americans should be very concerned about that 11% number, because when the president derides the media as fake news, when that first happened, some people laughed and said it's just rhetoric. But it's not rhetoric. When you repeat it over and over again, I think it's very damaging. And I think what's more disturbing is the president now repeatedly referring to the media as the enemy of the American people. That's frightening. And it's something that I take very seriously because I actually teach First Amendment. And I often have my students bring in examples from foreign countries of foreign leaders suppressing the press, of censoring journalists, or even putting journalists in jail. And I think it's very frightening that an American president would even dip his toe into the waters of an authoritarian attitude towards the press. And so I think the American people have to be very vigilant. It can't just be that we support a free press if they support our candidate, because a free press is not the enemy of the American people. A free press actually protects all of our liberties. And if you don't believe me, you look at historical examples. A lot of countries that think they're democracies, when a free press goes away, it's over. It's the beginning of the end. And so I think Americans, regardless of party, need to be very, very vigilant about protecting and supporting a free press.
Well, thank you so much. This was so enlightening, Leigh. We always love having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you back here very soon, I'm sure. There's a lot going on.
Thank you.
Thank you.